Hello and welcome back to Speak Fluent with Armin, the podcast where we dive deep into real-life English conversations and pick apart the vocabulary and idioms that make your speech sound natural. I'm Armin.
And I'm Linda. Hello, everyone.
Today we have a very special guest, John Carter, who recently embarked on an unforgettable journey from New York to Africa. He is here to share his stories and sprinkle in some fantastic idioms and important vocabulary along the way.
Hi, John. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Armin. Hey, Linda. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about the trip.
John, let's start at square one. What inspired you to pack your bags and head to Africa?
Well, it all started when I decided to hit the road last summer. I was burnt out from the daily grind in New York. Commuting, cubicles, coffee on the go. I wanted a change of pace, to break free from the rat race, you know?
Hit the road means to start traveling. For example, we packed our bags and hit the road at dawn. Daily grind refers to repetitive work, like the 9-to-5 slog. Rat race conveys the feeling of competing endlessly, often with little reward.
Great start. So you said you were burnt out. You definitely hit the road to escape the rat race. Walk us through your actual departure.
I booked a one-way ticket, went in on a whim. No return date, no rigid itinerary. Just me, my backpack, and a sense of adventure. When I landed in Nairobi, it was like entering a whole new world.
On a whim suggests you made that decision suddenly. For instance, I bought that dress on a whim. An itinerary is simply your travel plan.
So you went on a whim. No detailed itinerary. Brave move. What were your first impressions upon stepping off the plane?
To be honest, I was under the weather from jet lag, but the moment I stepped out of the airport, I was greeted by a kaleidoscope of colors, sounds, and smells. The streets were alive with hawkers calling out their wares, and the skyline was punctuated by acacia trees.
Under the weather is a polite way to say you feel a bit sick. A kaleidoscope literally is a toy with shifting colors. Figuratively, it means a vibrant mix. Punctuated here means interrupted or highlighted by.
Nice. Even jet-lagged and under the weather, you noticed the kaleidoscope of Nairobi.
You mentioned you didn't stick to the tourist trail. Tell us about going off the beaten path.
Absolutely. I decided to ditch the guidebook and explore neighborhoods where few tourists tread. One afternoon, I hitchhiked to a rural village, petrified at first, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise.
Off the beaten path is perfect for any kind of under-the-radar travel. To hitchhike is to stick out your thumb and hope for a ride. A blessing in disguise sounds negative at first, like a stroke of bad luck, but turns out positive.
So your hitchhiking adventure was initially scary, but ended up being a blessing in disguise. Let's talk culture. How did you immerse yourself in local life?
I stayed with a host family. We broke bread each evening, literally. Our conversations were a perfect example of quintessential East African hospitality. They taught me to read between the lines in a negotiation, especially at the market.
Immerse means you fully dive into the culture. Quintessential defines something as the prime example. To read between the lines is to grasp what's not explicitly said.
Diving in headfirst, always the best way to immerse yourself.
John, you used some fantastic expressions. Let's pause and explain a few more. Go the extra mile, take the plunge, beat around the bush.
Sure. I often had to go the extra mile, literally walking miles, to find the right bus. Finally, I decided to take the plunge and join a Maasai-led safari trip. At first, my guide beat around the bush, not wanting to offend any wildlife conservation rules. Explanations. Go the extra mile. Do more than what is required or expected. Example. If you want to impress your boss, go the extra mile on that project. Take the plunge. To commit to a risky or challenging action. Example. She took the plunge and started her own business. Beat around the bush. Avoid talking about what's important. Example. Stop beating around the bush and tell me what happened.
These are staples of conversational English. You'll hear them everywhere.
Tell us about that Maasai safari. Did you get the lay of the land before setting out?
I sure did. The guides let me get the lay of the land, learn the terrain, spot animal tracks. Then, we journeyed at dawn. We saw elephants, lions, zebras. It was a once-in-a-lifetime moment.
Get the lay of the land can be used in any new situation. Once in a lifetime describes events you're unlikely to experience again.
That must have been breathtaking. And seeing those animals, definitely once in a lifetime. You mentioned the hiccup with red tape at customs in Cairo. What happened?
Oh man, so much red tape. I nearly missed my connecting flight because paperwork was held up. It felt like I was running around in circles, filling out form after form.
Red tape is a common complaint in travel and paperwork. Running around in circles means you're busy but not getting anywhere.
Bureaucracy strikes again, but you persevered. Now that you're back in New York, how has this journey changed you?
It's been transformative. I've seen the juxtaposition of modern cities and ancient traditions. I learned to keep my eyes peeled for opportunities and to touch base regularly with new friends across different continents.
Transformative means it deeply affected you. Juxtaposition highlights contrasts, like skyscrapers next to savanna plains. Keep your eyes peeled is a vivid way to say, stay alert. Touch base is often used in business. Let's touch base next week.
Those are invaluable lessons, both in travel and language.
Before we wrap up, John and Armin give our listeners 3 key tips for using idioms naturally in English conversation.
Context is king. Make sure the idiom fits the situation. Misusing beat around the bush in a math class might confuse people. Practice aloud. Say the idiom in sentences whenever you learn it. Keep a vocabulary journal. Jot down new words and idioms you encounter, with example sentences.
Great advice. And I would add, listen to native speakers, podcasts, movies, conversations, and note how they drop idioms casually into speech.
Also, don't be afraid to take the plunge and use new idioms, even if you're not 100% sure. It's the best way to learn.
John, thank you so much for sharing your incredible journey and your wisdom on idioms and advanced vocabulary.
Thanks for having me. I hope listeners feel inspired to hit the road and go the extra mile in learning English.
That's it for today's episode of Speak Fluent with Armin. Keep practicing, stay curious, and as always, speak fluent.